The stars were quiet that night, but not silent. Across the cold black of space, a message was sent. It came from a small world orbiting a dying sun. The Varelians had built their cities high into the clouds, hoping to escape the rising heat below. They were smart, careful, and afraid. They had seen the dark ships come down from the void. Not many knew what they were. Those who did were already gone. So the Varelians did what any species does when it feels the end coming close. They reached out. They sent a distress call across the stars, hoping someone, anyone, would hear. The signal jumped through deep space, bouncing off old satellites, passing dead worlds until it hit something unexpected. Earth. On Earth, the signal was picked up by a listening post in Arizona. The people there didn't sleep much. Their job was to watch for signs of life beyond the sky. At first, they thought it was a mistake. Then they played it again. It was real. Across the planet, the news spread like fire. Governments met behind closed doors. Scientists argued over coffee. Reporters shouted questions at each other. And in every home, someone asked the same thing. What do we do now? Captain Daniel Harper stood on the bridge of the UECS Liberty. He was a man used to silence, not noise. But the noise was growing louder every hour. His superiors told him to wait, to listen, to be patient. He looked at the stars outside his window and thought about all the years humans spent looking up, wondering if they were alone. Now someone else was asking for help, and he couldn't just stand by, so he made a choice. He typed a short reply and sent it back across space. We are coming. The message left Earth faster than light. It flew past comets and moons, past the ruins of forgotten probes, until it reached the edge of the Varelian system. There, it was received with joy. The Varelians believed they had found a protector, a powerful friend. They did not know what was coming, because humans were not what they expected, and when danger called, they didn't run, they answered. The Varelians waited. Their cities floated above a boiling ocean, their people tired and scared. The message had been sent. Now they watched the sky for help. When the reply came, we are coming. It was like a breath of air after being underwater too long. They thought humans were strong, wise, maybe even ancient like the others who ruled space. They did not know that Earth was young among stars, that humans had never fought a real war beyond their own world. On Earth, things moved fast. Governments gave orders. Factories built ships, soldiers trained. Scientists tried to understand alien tech from old probes and broken satellites. Captain Daniel Harper stood at the center of it all. He was no longer just a man in command. He was the face of the mission. The fleet was made of old ships and new ones. Some were meant for travel, others for war. All were pointed toward the same place. The UECS Ironclad joined the group. It was one of the strongest ships. Its commander was Lisa Carter, a woman who had seen battle on Earth before she ever left it. She looked at the stars ahead and said nothing. She trusted her crew, but she also knew something most didn't. Space was not kind to the unready. Weeks passed, then months. At last, the human fleet reached the edge of the Varelian system. What they saw made them stop. There were ships floating in silence, not moving, not alive. Some were torn apart. Others burned without fire in the cold dark. No, one spoke for a long time. Then came the first contact. Lights blinked far away. Shapes moved. The Varelians arrived to greet them. They came close, broadcasting joy, relief, hope. But humans had learned to be careful. Every ship in the human fleet had weapons ready, shields up, fighters waiting. A voice called out from the Varelian lead. Ship. We are friends, another voice answered from Earth. This is Captain Harper. Identify your species and intent. The Varelians laughed, not because it was funny, but because they were so tired of fear. I am Commander Coral of the Varelian Defense Fleet. We sent the call. We need your help. Harper looked at his screen. He saw what was left of the battlefield. He asked the question no one wanted to answer. What attacked you? Coral's voice went quiet. Then he said, something that should not exist. And far behind them in the dark, something moved again. The Varelians moved closer. Their ships were sleek, fast, and built for peace more than war. They did not expect danger from the humans. They had asked for help. They believed it was given. Captain Daniel Harper watched them on his screen. His hands were steady, but his mind raced. He had seen what was left of their fleet. He had seen dead ships floating like bones in space, and he knew something had done that. He didn't know what. Yet a signal came in from the Varelian lead ship. We wish to speak. We must prepare for what comes next. Harper nodded. Open a channel. The voice that came through was high, soft, almost musical. I am Commander Coral. We are grateful you answered our call. Harper spoke clearly. We're here to help, but we need to understand what we're facing. Coral hesitated. Then, without warning, one of the Varelian ships fired. It wasn't a weapon. It was a tractor beam. They meant to guide the human ships through the wreckage, away from danger. But no one had told the humans about it. On the bridge of the UECS Ironclad, Commander Lisa Carter saw the energy spike and reacted. Shields up. All weapons hot. Her crew followed orders fast. Fighters launched. Missiles locked. She gave the order. Fire. Beams of light cut through space. The first blast hit the Varelian ship's side, then another. The tractor beam shut off. Alarms screamed across the Varelian fleet. They were under attack. Coral shouted into the open channel. What are you doing? Harper slammed his hand on the console. Cease fire! Cease fire now! The silence that followed was worse than the noise. Smoke floated from a damaged Varelian vessel. One of their engines was gone. Another ship spun, slowly, lifeless. No one spoke. Finally, Coral's voice returned. But it was colder now. You shot us. Harper looked at the screen. He saw the fear in Coral's eyes. The pain. The betrayal. I didn't mean to, he said. But words couldn't fix broken ships. Carter stood behind him, arms crossed. This is why we don't trust aliens, she muttered. Harper turned to her. And this is why we don't shoot first. Tension filled the bridge. Outside, the stars remained silent. But deep in the dark, something watched. Something waited, and it was not done with them yet. The silence between the two fleets was heavy. No one moved. No one spoke. Then, from deep in space, something answered. A low hum filled the comms. Not from the Varelians. Not from the humans. Something else. It came from beyond the wreckage, past the broken ships, where the stars seemed darker than they should be. Captain Daniel Harper felt it before he heard it. A wrongness in the air like the moment before a storm. Then the sensors screamed. Something was coming. Fast. Coral's voice cracked over the open channel. They found you. Harper turned to his crew. What do you mean, they? Coral didn't answer. He didn't have time. From the dark, shapes appeared. They were not ships. Not exactly. They looked more like living things made of metal, long, sharp, and moving like shadows in water. Lisa Carter saw them first on her screen. Her stomach twisted. They're not slowing down, she said. Harper gave the order. All ships, weapons hot, prepare for contact. But there was no time to prepare. The enemy struck fast. 1 second, the sky was clear. The next, human and Varelian ships alike were under attack. Lasers that burned without heat. Missiles that changed direction mid-flight. Creatures that tore through armor like paper. A fighter exploded near the UECS Liberty. A piece of hull broke off the ironclad. People died. Harper shouted into the comm. What are these things? Coral's voice was tight. We call them the Zelthari. They don't talk, they don't stop, they only take. Harper looked at the chaos outside. Ships burning, people screaming. And those things, those monsters, closing in. He had thought this mission would be about diplomacy, maybe even peace. Now he realized this was war, and they were losing. Carter stood beside him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "We need to fall back," she said. Harper shook his head. "We can't, we just got here." She looked at him like he was crazy. He wasn't. He was human, and humans didn't run when danger showed up. They fought, even when they were outmatched, even when they didn't understand what they were fighting, especially then. Harper turned to his crew. "All ships form up. We hold the line." No one cheered, but everyone obeyed, because they knew this was only the beginning. The battle was lost. The humans and Varelians barely escaped. Ships limped back to Earth orbit, trailing fire and broken metal. Some never made it. The cost was high. But the knowledge they brought back was higher. The enemy had a name: the Zelthari. No one knew where they came from. They didn't build ships like others did. They grew them, like living things, and they hunted without rest. Captain Daniel Harper stood in a dark room on Earth, watching footage of the attack. He saw how fast the Zelthari moved, how they adapted, how they struck where defenses were weakest. He turned to his crew. "We were not ready." Lisa Carter leaned against the wall. Her face was tired, but her voice was sharp. "Next time we will be." Back on Earth, fear spread. Not of aliens, not anymore, but of what was coming. Governments called for action. Factories ran day and night. Scientists studied captured pieces of Zelthari tech, trying to understand what they were dealing with. One of them was Dr. Karen Morales. She had spent years studying alien life, but nothing prepared her for this. "These things aren't just machines," she said. "They're alive, or something close to it." A new plan began to form. If the Zelthari could adapt, then so would humanity. Fighters were redesigned. Weapons were upgraded. Tactics changed. And in secret, a new kind of ship was built. The Hunter-class strike frigate. Fast, silent, deadly. Meanwhile, on the UECS Liberty, a young officer named Marcus Bell studied every report from the battle. He noticed something others missed. The Zelthari didn't fight alone. They shared something, a link, a way to talk without speaking. "If we can break that link," he said, "we can stop them." Harper looked at him. "How?" Bell smiled. "By being smarter than they expect." Earth sent word. The next mission was coming. This time, they wouldn't just respond to a call for help. They would go looking for the enemy, and they wouldn't come back until the job was done. Across the world, people read the news. Some were scared, most were angry, but deep inside every human heart was something old and wild, something that had carried them through fire, ice, and war. It whispered now, louder than ever, "We don't run, we fight, and when we fight, we win." The second wave was different. This time the humans came ready, not just with ships, not just with weapons, but with knowledge. Captain Daniel Harper stood on the bridge of the UECS Liberty, watching as the fleet jumped into deep space. Behind him were dozens of Hunter-class strike frigates, fast, silent, built for one thing: war. Lisa Carter was at his side. She had seen too many die in the first battle. She would see fewer fall this time. "This time," she said, "we know what we're up against." Harper nodded. "Let's hope that's enough." They followed the trail of dead worlds. Planets stripped clean, lifeless. The Zelthari left nothing behind but silence. Then they found it. A massive structure orbited a dead star. Not a ship, not a planet, something else. Dr. Karen Morales studied the scans. Her voice was low. "This isn't just a base, it's their heart." Marcus Bell looked at the data and smiled. "It's their link," he said. "If we break this, we break them." The plan was simple. Dangerous, crazy. A small team would fly close, drop EMP torpedoes into the core, shut down the connection between the swarm units. If it worked, the Zelthari would stop working together. They would slow down, maybe even stop. If it failed, no one talked about failure. Harper gave the order. The UECS Ironclad led the charge. Fighters flew ahead like arrows. Bombers followed behind. They hit hard. Lasers lit up the dark. Ships exploded. Metal burned without fire. Carter flew one of the bombers herself. She didn't ask for permission. She just went. She and her crew dropped the torpedoes. Then they ran. The explosion lit up half the system. For a moment, everything stopped. Then the Zelthari slowed. Their movements became confused. Their attacks broke apart. Some ships crashed into each other. Others floated aimlessly. It worked. Harper saw the opening. All ships attack. The human and Varelian fleets struck together. For the first time, they fought as one. The enemy fell, piece by piece, ship by ship. And for the first time since the war began, the humans started to win, but not without cost. Some ships never came back. Some pilots never returned. But the tide had turned, and Earth had sent a message across the stars. We don't just survive, we fight back. And when we do, we finish the job. The war was over. The Zelthari were broken. Their great hive core destroyed. Their ships scattered. Some fled into deep space. Others fell silent, drifting like ghosts among the stars. Humanity had won, but not without scars. Back on Earth, the sky was quiet again. Cities lit up at night. Children played in parks. Life went on. But for those who fought, it never truly ended. Captain Daniel Harper stood alone on a hill outside his old home. He watched the stars, wondering what else might be out there. He had once thought space was empty. Now he knew better. It was full of danger, full of enemies they couldn't yet imagine. And now, humanity was part of that fight. Lisa Carter walked up beside him. She didn't salute. She didn't have to. "You thinking about them?" she asked. He nodded. All of them. The ones who hadn't come back. The ones who had given everything so others could live. She looked at the sky. You think we scared them?" He smiled. "I think we terrified them." Across the galaxy, the Varelians debated what to do with humans. Some saw them as heroes, others as something dangerous, a species too quick to fight, too willing to risk everything. Commander Coral stood before his council. "They came when no one else did," he said. "They fought when they didn't have to." A leader asked, "Should we fear them now?" Coral thought for a long time. "Maybe," he said, "but I'd rather have them as friends than enemies." On Earth, new ships were already being built, bigger, stronger, faster. Children dreamed of flying them. Scientists searched for signs of life beyond the stars. And somewhere, aboard the new dreadnought UECS Liberty, a young recruit asked his commander a question. "What if we meet someone worse than the Zelthari out there?" The officer smiled. "Let's hope not," he said. "But if we do?" He looked out, at the stars. "I'd rather have us on our side than against us." Because that was what humans did. They answered the call, even when it led to war, even when they were afraid. They came, and they made sure the galaxy would never forget.